Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 amazing reasons why you must invest in buy-to-let properties. Look, I know you may be thinking about you need lots of money to start your property investment journey. Maybe you need 50,000, 100,000 pounds, and it's really not for you. It might be for someone who's got lots of money. Literally, I've got a good news for you. Right? You do not need lots of money to start your property investment journey, because basically it's all about what you know, how to execute what you know. Like, let me tell you a bit about myself. A few years ago, well, I was in a similar situation. I thought I needed a ridiculous amount of money to start my property investment journey. I've been told this since I was born, basically, literally since I was born, that I need lots of money to be able to invest in properties. I was told I need 200,000. Someone told me about 300,000. Someone told me 50,000. So people are giving me so much information, so many noises coming around me. I thought probably it's very hard to do, and I just cannot do it. Right? I had that in my head. I needed all that money, not knowing all these advices, all this information I was getting it from people that have never bought a house before. That I'm getting it from people that have never even considered buying a house before, right? I did not know that. I was thinking, what? That is lots of money to do. When I realized I was getting those noises from people that are really not invested in properties, I looked into it. A few years ago, I started my property investment journey from absolutely zero to building a multi-million pound property investment portfolio. I'm really grateful for it. I'm really grateful for the people who have actually helped me along the way, for the people I've tapped into, and obviously for the energy and the resources I was able to take advantage of to kickstart my property investment journey. So what I'm saying is, basically, if I was able to start from that point, you are able to start at that point, or even better if you've got a little money to actually start. So again, I'm going to go through this process so you understand really what are the 7 amazing reasons why you must invest in buy-to-let property. Right? That I'm only talking about buy-to-let property today because this is one of the easiest strategies you could do to actually get you passive income whilst also generating a massive capital appreciation as well. So again, the number 1 reason, basically, when you invest in a buy-to-let property, you are investing in a solid asset. That asset is yours to keep, right? It's yours, and the benefit of it also is a solid asset. You can walk past it, you can drive past it, you can visit it, you can inspect it, you can even kiss it if you ever want to kiss it, okay? Because it's there for you. It will never go away, regardless what the economic climate is. If you rent in that property, your tenant will pay you your rent, okay? If you will see an example during COVID, when people lose their job or when the countries were locked down, guess where they were? They were inside a house. They were inside a buy-to-let property or a home that they own. So again, it's a bulletproof income, because obviously what government does, basically, for the people who lost their job or who couldn't go to work and could not earn any money, they literally provided the subsidies to help them pay their rent. Again, it's a solid asset. You know, it's literally very easy to actually bulletproof your income in that, okay? The second reason why I think buy-to-let is a very good investment to actually make is very easy, right? Let's say you want to buy a house. It's very easy. All you could do is get a solicitor, right? Get a mortgage broker, right? Get the property, right? These are the key people that you need, and obviously your income as well. If you're buying a buy-to-let property, I'm not talking about flats here. Again, why I'm talking about buy-to-let, I'm referring to houses here. Right, I'm referring to freehold houses. Again, if you're buying a buy-to-let property, you don't have to worry about the ground rent, service charges, and all that nonsense. Basically, you're buying a freehold property. You own everything within that property. It is in your own right, and it's very easy to buy because obviously you don't have to contact the leaseholder. You don't have to contact the management agent. They don't have to provide you a report. If it's a property buy-to-let freehold property, you see the property, you like it. The agent kind of do all the stuff that they need to do, issue the memorandum of sale to your solicitors. The solicitor just go and they search it straight away. They don't need to have to contact any other party involving in that property because obviously it's a freehold property. That's another reason why you must invest in these sort of properties now. Okay, and again, obviously, a buy-to-let property, freehold property, that's not an apartment, a house, is easy to rent compared to flat. Okay, because what happens basically, if you're renting a house, you can target families, and again, families want to live in a house that got a garden, parking, etc., etc. Again, it's kind of easier to rent out. And then people tend to stay in those houses for a very long time versus flat. If you kind of buy a flat, basically you are targeting a different market. You're targeting probably working professionals, single people that are not looking to have kids, etc., etc. And nowadays, even the single people like to have a garden, especially during COVID. Basically, people were fed up living in an apartment, right? We've got lockdown. You're not allowed to go out. You're not allowed to do anything. They were confined in one place. So if they were in a buy-to-let, a nice 2 or 3 bedroom house, they can go to their garden, or they can actually sit in their front garden, or they can literally sit in where they park their cars. Again, it's kind of very easy to kind of get properties like that to rent out, because obviously these people want that flexibility. And again, I say it's a massive benefit doing that. And the other benefit also, in most cases, houses are very close to good schools, right? They're very close to good schools. And then obviously, if families are moving in that property, they consider that as well. But apartments are usually in the bang in the middle of a city center, bang in the middle of a town center. And again, you got to drive a little bit more to drop your children off. And again, that's another benefit of getting a buy-to-let property. I'm talking about freehold properties here, okay? Next, another amazing reason why you must invest in buy-to-let family houses is basically it's easy to force the appreciation. Now, what do I mean by it is easy to force the appreciation? Let's say you bought a 2-bedroom flat. Let's start with the flats first, okay? If you bought a 2-bedroom flat, there's no way you can force appreciation in that property, because one, you cannot add another bedroom. You cannot extend it. You cannot do anything. You're literally restricted to that square footage. Basically, you are restricted in that square meter. So you cannot do anything with it. And also, one of the key kind of disadvantage on that also, the longer you stay in the property, the less your lease becomes as well. So again, your lease reduces. Again, you've got your management fees to pay, you've got your ground rent to pay, you've got your service charges to pay. There's so many fees to pay, and there's no way you could force the appreciation. And again, if the lease is going down, guess what? You have to go and extend your lease, and that's another additional cost in you. Contrast to a simple freehold 2-bedroom buy-to-let property. Number one, it's got a garden. Number two, is it might have a front parking. And number three, you can actually force the value. How can you force the value? Basically, you can extend it at the back. You can extend it up. You can literally go sideways. You can do whatever you want to do potentially, okay, with that property. You can force the value into it. If it's a 2-bedroom, you might be able to convert it into 3-bedroom, or maybe you can extend the kitchen a little bit. And again, most areas in the UK, you're allowed to extend about 6 meters, okay? And again, without any planning. Okay, that's another massive benefit. You can literally open up your kitchen, do it as a kitchen diner, and you can then have another reception room as well. So basically you force that appreciation. Or probably you can have another extra bedroom, or you can go to the loft. You can have another extra bedroom there. Again, that's one of the reasons why I buy houses, freehold houses, not flat. I don't own a flat. The only flat I have are rent to service accommodation flats, okay? I don't buy a flat because of that reason, because you're restricted in what there's so many covenants in it. But with a house, freehold house, you own it outright. Guess what? You've only got to deal with the planning authority, okay? You don't have to deal with anybody else, and you can do whatever you want into the property. I'll give an example. Bought a 2-bedroom house, corner house, very nicely located. I looked at the house. What I did basically, I converted it into 4-bedroom house. From a 2-bed into 4-bedroom house. Guess what? I forced the appreciation, right? Bought it I think I bought it at £60,000. Do all the works, and it got valued about 230 to about 240,000 pounds. That's what you could do when you buy a freehold property. If it was a flat, I can't do anything, right? I've got some of my students coming to me. Oh, I've got this amazing flat. It looks really, really nice. Lease is 1,000 years. I said, listen, I'm not on flat. The reason why I'm not in flat is what I've just told you. Again, that's one of the ways you could literally make your property or your money work a lot harder for you, because obviously it gets you the return on investment. You've got lesser restrictions, okay? And again, if you've done all those additional benefits, if you added value to that property, what that means basically, again, it forces you to get an additional passive income, right? Suppose we bought that property as a 2-bedroom house. We converted it into a 3-bedroom house. Guess what? We're not renting that property at £800 anymore. We're renting it at £1,000 or £1,100. You can see you force the appreciation. And guess what? The people that are moving into that house will not be staying there for 1 year, for 2 years. They may be staying there for a lifetime. I've got some people that moved into my properties. Since they've moved in, they've never ever considered moving out. You know why? Because they're living in a house. They're not just living in a house, they live in a house with a massive, nice garden, right? Mommy lives nearby, daddy lives next door, cousins and so on the side. They're there for a lifetime. Again, that's the benefit you get when you buy freehold buy-to-let property. That's one of the reasons why you must invest in buy-to-let properties as well. Don't buy flat. Okay, I'm not going to say don't buy flat, but consider the cons when you are buying flats, because you are restricted to what you could do in that property. Next, another reason why you must invest in buy-to-let property, basically, it's easy to manage. What do I mean by that? Okay, if you own the property outright, right, you don't have to pay maintenance fees. You don't have to pay someone to look after the property. In that sense, there's no ground rent to pay, there's no service charge to pay. And then obviously you can kind of easily maintain the property yourself. You can get your handyman. If something goes wrong, you can go and fix it immediately. If something wrong with an apartment, especially when it comes to do with roofing or moisture coming into your property, is causing damp condensation, you have to have a consent, right? You have to have a consent to do anything in that property, right? Again, it's a restriction. Imagine if something that you need to do urgently, right? It restricts you from doing urgent, and again, it goes through so many bureaucracies before you get that approved. And plus, if it's to do with the whole building, guess what? You have to get everybody in that building to agree on your paying. Again, that's another massive disadvantage of doing that, right? I had a friend of mine who approached me, bought a property in Newcastle, right? He had a leak, okay? And the leak is coming from upstairs. He was the 3rd floor up, and there's another floor above him. The leak was coming from the cavity, from the roof to the cavity into his bedroom, right? Guess what? That took him over 8 months to get sorted out, because he had to get the flat above him to agree with him that the water is going through, to show proof that that's where the moisture is coming from, that's where the water was coming from, and then obviously sort that person out, talk to that person to write a letter or things like that, and then he went to the flat below him also to actually ask for the same thing. Again, it's just too much work. If it's a straight buy-to-let property, you own it, you own the land, you own the property. Things goes wrong with the roof, you call your roofer straight away to sort it out before it goes worse. Again, that's one of the reasons why you must invest in freehold buy-to-let property. And again, capital appreciation, I've talked about that a little bit. So again, with freehold properties, property prices goes up drastically because what? There's no restricted covenant. The leases are not reducing because it's freehold. Contrast to a flat, if it's a leasehold, obviously, the lease years are going down, management fees are going up. Some of these flats also, they have the ground rent doubling every 5 years. Okay, the ground rent double every 5 years, some every 3 years. So again, these are one of the clauses that you never get to read, right? You bought a property that the lease, that the ground rent doubles every couple of years. You are in hot waters in about 5-10 years. You know, suppose it doubles every, let's say every five years, right? Say your ground rent is about £2,500 a year, and it doubles after 5 years. In 5 years' time, that goes to £5,000, right? And in another 5 years from that, it doubles, it goes to £10,000. So that's the reason why really I love my freehold properties. I love my freehold buy-to-let properties, and I'm banging on it because I know that is the investment that gets you that guaranteed sort of control to do whatever you want to do with it. If you like this video or any of my video, don't forget to share it with friends and family, and subscribe to my channel so you get notification when we post new videos. If you like this episode or any of my episode, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel so future episodes are downloaded directly into your device. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to sharing the next video.